welcome back to Viewmasters. I am Ed, joined by Rusty. Rusty, how's it going?
Been busy with the baby.
Busy with
that,
the baby. She's 2 years old now. She's not a baby anymore.
Busy with the toddler. I'm the Mr. Mom role because obviously,
I love it.
Obviously, I work from home, but I've been also, picking up on the parenting responsibilities, and the reason why is because Jen has been handling a trial for work, her first trial.
Wow,
which is big for her, and I don't know if I don't think I told you any of this. It's an asbestos trial. The person, which is sad, the person is dying from mesothelioma, but it's not lung related. It's in the stomach, in the abdomen area. And she's already surpassed doctors' expectations, so she's still alive. She should have been dead a couple of years ago because this trial's been dragging out with COVID and everything. So the other day, like 2 days ago, she's doing testimony, and she's, detailing the horrible events of her life. And it's really sad. Like, not only did she get exposed to asbestos when she was younger, but her dad was abusive and her husband was abusive. So it's a sad story. So she's telling all this and, practically moving people to tears. I think the court reporter was crying, and Jen's, on the verge of tears. And the way Jen's situated in the courtroom, there's a paralegal kind of in front of her where Jen could see her computer screen. And while all this is going on, the paralegal is on their laptop and they're Googling, and the way they're affected, they're Googling, do pandas have thumbs? Now, picture this, somebody's, laying out the details of their life, going through something very traumatic, and paralegals looking up, do pandas have thumbs? Which, interesting. But then she goes on, her next search is horned lizards versus bearded dragons. Who do you got in that one?
The ancient rivalry. Oh my God. I don't even want to get political on this podcast.
No. So the next thing, it's not over yet. Her next thing is, which bear is the strongest?
What?
That's a good question. Jen's texting me giving me play by play here. And my question is, why would she need to know this at that moment? Like, a lot of animal related stuff. But then as I'm thinking about it, Jen texts me, oh my God, she just Googled, what would happen if you raised a baby gorilla like a human child?
Wait, Jen should tell her about that movie Project Nim, because that's like raising a chimpanzee as a human child. She could really probably enjoy that.
Is that the one where the chimp turned on like the family friend or something? Or is that a different one?
That's the end of every chimp movie.
It's always the same thing: face and genitals. How does a chimp know? Why does it know to go for the crotch?
It's like, yesterday I love this motherfucker, but today that face is gonna fucking hit the wall.
It even turns they even turn on their owners. You ever see the famous story of like the chimp that was like so friendly it would drive the car to like the store and pick up groceries, and then it just had enough and just like tore apart like the husband's face, like ripped his face right off. And then it was like in the street going crazy. They had to like shoot it multiple times, and it just having a rampage. I'm not making this up. I think it tried to get in the car and make a getaway. Oh, I cried.
It sounds like that paralegal was having the time of her life. And this movie, The Quiet Earth, is about a guy who finds himself the last person on Earth. He's all alone. He wanders in a crushing loneliness, and I think it's probably the most faithful reenactment I've seen of my college experience.
Anyway, I had an interaction the other day that was very similar to something I felt would have happened to you.
Well, I love to hear it. This is a great thing to talk about on the podcast.
I feel like I was walking in your shoes, but basically, I had a plumbing situation where I had a leak coming from my shower faucet, and I did a quick YouTube look up to see how to fix it. And I was pretty sure I could have done this on my own, but my dad said, "Oh, you should definitely hire a plumber. You don't want to mess around with plumbing on your own." So I listened to him, got a plumber over. He comes in. he comes up to the house wearing a mask, and he has like an assistant, both wearing masks. As soon as they like cross the threshold, masks come off, and and I'm just like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just like, okay, here it is. Here's COVID. But so they look at the problem, and he's just like, oh yeah. He's just like, you need a cartridge, which was the issue that I thought it was going to be. He's just like, you have a Home Depot. Can you pull up Home Depot on your phone? And I pulled it up. He goes, yeah, here's the part you need. So I said, oh, should I go get it? He's just like, yeah. So I said, well, will you come back to install it, or can I do it? He's just like, no, you could do it. And I'm just like, okay. And then I'm just like, well, what do I owe you for coming? He's just like, yeah, we'll just call it $100. So I paid him the $100. I'm just like, I paid him to tell me how to fix my own problem. And I feel like that's something that would happen to you.
Oh yeah, except I would have tipped him another 100, so it would have been 200.
That's exactly right.
And I would have done it wrong and had to get a new plumber.
You would have made it worse.
Rusty, our film today, The Quiet Earth. Are you ready for this?
Love it. Oh, I'm ready for it. I was born ready for this.
Well, so you did all the research on this film. I only know like two things about it. Really? Okay.
Well, I mean, I watched a few reviews. I read some things. I did order the Arrow released, but it didn't come in time because it's a UK release.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, by the time this is released, I probably would have received it, but that's the breaks. And I mean, the thing that most people focus on is the ending, just because there's no concrete, like, definitive answer to that.
Oh, I have the definitive answer.
Well, there you have it. Should we just jump to that, or build our way to that?
We'll build our way to that.
I like what I'm hearing.
All I know about the people involved in this film is that they're almost all dead.
What? I think a couple of them are still alive and well. I think it's a 50-50. 50-50 split, we'll say.
There's 3 people in the film. 2 of them are dead. The director's dead.
Yeah. Wait, who's the other one that's dead? I know the
two men are dead, aren't they?
No, I don't believe so. Do I have to fact check you on this? Is this how we're starting the episode, or already?
All right, start the fact check as I begin to talk about this film. Now, Rusty, over the credits, the sun rises for a very long time, and I felt that the music that was playing in this moment was just perfect.
I hate to tell you this, but Pete Smith, who plays Appy, is still alive and well.
I love to hear that. I don't know why you hate to tell me that. That's great news.
But here's what you're thinking. Appy's friend or mate that tried to kill him, he's deceased.
Okay.
So and who you're thinking of.
And the male lead is also deceased.
Yes, Bruno Lawrence. Yes, he died many, many years ago in 1995.
That's a weird coincidence. I almost lived in 1995.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. I was 1995. That was the time of PlayStation. I was taking the car from Wipeout everywhere.
Good mileage on that.
I was a Ridge Racer. Actually, no, I never even played Ridge Racer in my life.
Poser.
I was living in the Battle Arena Toshinden. I can't remember any PlayStation 1 games.
That's anyway. Why you're doing better than I couldn't even think of anything. You mentioned about the sun rising. Now, I don't know if you didn't watch the commentary track with Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No.
Okay. He was very impressed not impressed by this, but he was very impressed with the film. But the sun rising, it's rising to the left, which only occurs in the southern hemisphere. So we know that it's so it's definitely shot in New Zealand. No surprise there, but I didn't know that, and my brain can't comprehend why would it rise to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern. You were a whiz in science.
Let me think about this.
Well, while you're doing that, there is a moment, and Neil deGrasse Tyson had a problem with this, and he thought it could be an error.
Well, I've got a problem with him. I just have to say that I am against that guy. I don't remember exactly why everyone hates him, but everyone does not like him. I'm against him.
I think people like him again, though.
I don't know what people do. I think people don't like him.
There is a shot, though, in this opening scene where there's 2 birds flying around.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that must be an error because obviously all fauna disappears. But wouldn't it make sense that this happened before the event, that we're seeing the sunrise right before the event happens? So there would still be fauna.
Oh yeah, exactly. I took that sunrise. I mean, that seemed like it was perfectly linear.
Yeah.
Like we see the event happen after that.
Right. That's what I thought. So I don't know.
This fucking moron's getting details wrong in the very beginning of the film.
Oh man, I guess you're not going to like what he says later on.
Well, I do want to hear some kind of theorizing about what happens in this film, because we open with this naked guy. It's 6:11 a.m.
And you had a problem with that?
I don't have a problem with shit. I just, I know that when I was a teenager, this movie made me uncomfortable in a way. And I just think this overhead shot of this naked guy was probably challenging to me at that age.
Oh, I need you to elaborate on that.
Well, look, when I was a little kid and I was into the Maharaja and Keeper from soccer camp. And then later in life, I became gayer again. But I would say in those years, I was probably at my most uncomfortable.
How were you the most uncomfortable? What does that mean?
I mean, when I was 12 years old, I was a cop during the Stonewall riots.
You completely 180'd. You were gay, and then you were just bashing heads.
I'm not proud of it.
No.
Now I thought it was great. I loved looking at that guy.
I love the 180 you did.
I was like, I'm saying now I love looking at it. My only problem with looking at this guy who looks like he's like 50 in his 50s is that he probably was like 35 when this was made.
Well, here's the thing. I love to bring up age.
Yeah.
We're almost the same age as him. We're like a year behind.
Oh, thank God.
But he looks like that's what I thought a 44-year looked like.
Yeah.
When we were kids, when we were like 15, I was just like, oh yeah, 44 looks like that.
Maybe it is. I've smashed all my mirrors.
I mean, I do like the fact that they did not cast an attractive lead.
Oh, yeah, I love this. I think this guy, this is like the only place I've ever seen this guy, as far as I know. But I thought he was great in this movie.
Well, he's actually a musician. He was in a rock and roll. Yeah, he was in a band.
Sorry,
he was a drummer for a band called the Crocodiles, and their big song was called Tears. So, Crocodile Tears.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. That's what I have for that. Sadly, he passed away in 1995 at the age of 54 from inoperable lung cancer.
I like operable. I prefer operable.
Yeah.
So Rusty, he wakes up and he's wearing an ID card around his neck. That'll make sense later.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a drink of water.
I do love about this movie that, like, in every scene, like, the littlest details play a part later on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
This movie's crafted very well.
It really is. I mean, we'll point them out as they go. But there's one genius one that I really found myself thinking about a lot. So he's looking around, Rusty. His clock seems to be dead. He tries the phone. He's like, what's going on here? Very reminiscent of the pilot episode of The Twilight Zone, the original Twilight Zone. Where is everybody? I think the episode's called. Remember that one?
That's the one with the psychological one, right? To see how someone would handle it. Is that the one?
Well, yeah, that's the very ending. Yeah.
Am I not allowed to give away the ending of Twilight Zone?
No, you are. I just mean the main thing about that is reminiscent of this whole first sequence is that the guy is the last person on Earth, but there's like all kinds of indications that people were just there. That's
a good episode. Who's the lead in that? Is there anybody known or no?
It was Earl Holliman, who You're gonna find this interesting. Famous for once feeding 500 pigeons in a day.
Wait, did you know I was going to ask this question that you just happened to know the name?
I did look him up when I was thinking about this Twilight Zone episode, and it talked about he actually. First of all, you're not going to believe this. He's still alive.
Is he really? What is he?
He's like 93 years young.
Ooh,
93 years
close
young.
I was. 90. I hate when people say that.
He's a vegetarian and he loves animals. He once fed 500 pigeons in a day, reportedly.
He's inflating those numbers. He didn't hit 500. How do you keep account of that? What do you got? One of those clickers things, like for concerts when they're admitting people and they know how many people are coming in. He's got one of those.
Maybe he's got like one like really young fan who's like, "I loved you in Twilight Zone, man. I'll do anything. I'll count the pigeons."
Let's break that record and send this guy into his grave. Oh
man,
it's God. You know, in this opening scene though, where he's naked, which you were now comfortable by.
You sleep naked? What do you do? You probably don't sleep naked.
No, why would I sleep naked?
Yeah, you're sleeping in a 3-piece suit.
I'm sleeping in like what Jack Tripper used to wear in Three's Company.
Sleeping naked is super comfortable. I can see why people are into it. When I do it, I love it.
Yeah, but if it's so good, why don't you just do it all the time?
Well, I like to make the bed bugs work for it a little.
That's a good joke. Wait, but I feel like whenever you sleep nude, though, you're always compelled to touch yourself. Like you're like, oh, I'm naked, might as well. You don't have that problem?
No, not really.
Really?
So Rusty, he wanders around this town. He goes to a hotel. He goes to a gas station. Things are pretty weird for him.
Do you think when he goes to the gas station, because it is a cool detail, because we don't know what's going on at this moment. We just know that nobody's around, and some weird shit happened with the son. But he looks underneath the toilet and it's locked from the inside, but nobody's there. Which, I mean, we come to realize that that person's last moment on Earth was having a shit.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Do you think the shit's still in the bowl, or does that disappear with the person?
I guess it depends how far out it was.
What if it's coming? What if it's turtling? Does that stay with you?
That would be horrifying if when everyone vanished, it was like just like the shit that was like in their intestine all just dropped out. So it's just like splat, 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 splat. And it's like, oh man, we're the last people on Earth. We can go anywhere we want, but everywhere is pretty unpleasant.
I mean, I looked at this up. I mean, obviously all fauna has disappeared, but bacteria and viruses aren't considered fauna, so they're still prevalent. Wouldn't this guy be pretty fucked?
Well, it's not like the viruses suddenly change, though.
I know, but I mean, if he gets sick, what's he going to do?
Well, yeah.
I'm going in a bubble. If I'm the only one left, I'm going straight into a bubble wrap ball.
I was thinking it's like you wouldn't really be able to travel that well, you know? Kind of like wherever this happened, you kind of be fucked. Because like, how long would gas stations last with like no maintenance? Like if the power went down or something, like could you really drive a long distance? What about all the cars that are now blocking the road?
I mean, travel would probably be the last thing on my mind. I would just probably be thinking about food. I'd be panicking about like looking at the expiration dates get closer.
I could probably figure out how to fly a plane.
That's what I want to ask you. How long are you surviving? Are you making it a couple weeks?
I feel like day 3, I'm like, let's try to fly that plane. Let's check out New York, the New York scene.
I mean, planes you can pretty much fly. They fly by themselves now. All you have to do
is what I'm counting
on the tarmac. You know you're going to make a horrible choice.
Oh yeah,
you're going to do something. You're going to like try to cross the Colorado mountains in like your car. You know what moment gave me like the sweats of like just being so uncomfortable. Remember the scene where, I mean, I'm jumping way ahead, but we'll jump back obviously. Where him and the girl split up to look around for people, and he goes to like the university, and she's like goes to like a prison for a moment. Imagine accidentally locking yourself in a prison cell.
Oh yeah. Well, that kind of happens to him when he goes to check out his facility. He almost ends up locked in there.
Yeah, but I mean, he had some, utilities to get out of there. That's how you're going. You're going to try the same thing, MacGyver, and just blow yourself up.
Oh yeah, for sure. Long story short, though, in this film, they find 2 other people within pretty close distance. So I feel like it's like a small New Zealand town, or no, maybe it's a city. But still, I feel like that means like there's probably like 700 people who survived in LA.
Well, I mean, you're having me jump ahead, but here's what Neil deGrasse Tyson had to say.
Oh, okay.
So here's the numbers for you. Let's see if this is entertaining. So you survive when you're in the process of dying. when the effect hits, right? So
Yeah.
about 6,000 people die each hour worldwide. So in every hour, there's like 6,000 people that die.
Worldwide?
Worldwide.
They said worldwide, but it added something to like the death. It was like worldwide.
Worldwide.
Why did 6,000 people die this hour?
Which breaks down to about 100 people per minute. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So since the film's effect lasts roughly 5 seconds, that means about 8 people would have survived worldwide.
Worldwide?
So the worldwide.
No, I know that's, but 8 people worldwide. So wow. So
the fact that there's 3 in this tiny remote town in New Zealand is remarkable.
Rusty, he's checking everything out. He goes to a house. Now, was this supposed to be his family's house?
I mean, I think it's implied, but I don't know where we would pick that up, that he's divorced. Mm-hmm. So he goes to his ex-wife's house. And I like this scene because I love the way he like kind of breaks into the house and kind of looks around, because he knows at this moment, he still knows, like, he's not sure what's happening, but like he knows he shouldn't be there. And it's a little risky move. And then he, like, as he's looking around and he sees like on the laundry line, he sees the other guy's shirts. So it's kind of like a bit like unsettling to him. And then he goes into the bedroom and sees like they were just having breakfast in bed and probably doing it or something. And you could see that like look on his face of sorrow. And he's obviously feels really uncertain of what's going on in the world.
This was all lost on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you can't read human emotions at all.
I thought that was a shirt. Now. I thought that was his shirt.
He's breaking into his own home.
Rusty, after he goes to that house, he pretty much knows he's the last guy on Earth. So he's driving to his work. He sees this abandoned tanker blocking the road. This tanker, you would never guess it's going to come back later, but it does.
Hugely.
We see he goes through the city. It's like completely abandoned. Really reminded me of Omega Man. Classic, he's the last guy on Earth movie.
I read that I Am Legend rips off a lot from this movie.
Well, I Am Legend was written way before this.
No, but the movie itself.
Oh, the movie. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
I don't know. Just visually, like a lot of the visual. I don't know. I don't remember. I've seen some of I Am Legend, but I don't really remember the visuals. So
he goes to a hilltop. Oh, Rusty, he finds that crashed plane. When he found the seats with the seatbelts fastened and no one in it, I was like, okay, something weird happened here.
I hate to say this, but that's taken from the novel.
Mm-hmm.
Why
do you hate to say that?
Oh, because it's not like a unique directing choice. It's lifted from the novel.
Who did direct this film, by the way?
Jeff Murphy. He's, as you mentioned earlier, he's deceased, but he had a pretty interesting career after this movie.
Go on.
Took off. In 1990, Young Guns 2.
Wow.
So he made his way to the States. He did Young Guns 2, then Free Jack, and then he did Under Siege 2, which was his biggest hit.
Well, he did. So he did Young Guns 2, and then he did Free Jack. So Emilio must have been like, I like this guy. I want this guy to work on Free Jack.
Yeah. And he was also a second unit director for the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
That's weird. I mean, I guess it's not weird, but it's kind of weird. That's interesting.
Do you know the guy, Pete Smith, who plays Arpy? Do you know he was in Lord of the Rings?
What? Who was he?
Yeah. Gandalf.
Oh, come on. Who was he for real?
If you can't guess, I'm going to give you one guess. If you guess incorrectly, something's going to happen to you. It's not a major character, obviously.
Was he...
God, you're going to get this wrong. Everybody knows you're getting this wrong now.
I didn't want to say... I mean, he's obviously an orc, right? But I feel like the orcs... It's kind of like a... It's already a little...
It's really shitty of you to say.
No, it's already kind of like a racist thing in like the original telling of the book, right? And then... I mean, but of course, you look at this guy. Of course, he's playing an orc. Not because he's a black guy, but he's got the face of kind of like a, he's got like a Ron Perlman face.
So what are you saying about Ron Perlman now?
Well, I mean, they've got faces that lend
So
themselves
you're
to
saying Ron
creature
Perl?
makeup.
So in Quest for Fire, he was perfect for that role. Is what you're saying about Ron Perlman?
I have blocked out Quest from Fire for Quest from Fire. That was my quest from the fire. Oh, whatever.
So what were you saying?
He goes to work, Rusty. He works at a place with a giant satellite dish.
How is he not having like a panic attack with what's going on? He's just going trying to make sense of everything, goes to work.
Well, as we will learn, like he knew it could happen.
Yeah.
He checks the monitor. He sees every city's offline. He tries the phone. No, it's all over, baby.
Yeah, you know what's interesting that when he is checking the monitor and he's looking for signals and he's it's coming up negative for each city. That pretty much tells him that it's happened all over the world.
And he knows it was his project in conjunction with the Americans. We know New Zealand's never going to destroy the whole world.
It's funny. In the Siskel and Ebert review that I watched, Ebert's like, and of course, it's got to be the Americans that destroy everything. He was like offended by that.
I would be offended if it wasn't. I was like, come on, New Zealand's not pulling this off. Then when they were like, it was the Americans, I was like, nice. You never want to be like this guy who is just like he's like an like a really low level person in the apocalypse. You want to run the show if the world's going to end. Yeah,
but he's still much higher up than like all the rest of us schlubs.
Speak for yourself.
We didn't even know what was going
on. So it's called Project Flashlight.
Well, it's encasing the planet in like an energy grid. So planes could basically, instead of having to refuel, they could fly through the grid and charge the planes.
Oh, okay. So it's wireless power, which always freaks me out.
The interesting thing is Nikola Tesla had the same vision. He thought that was possible, that he could put an energy grid around the globe, because basically the Earth is, electromagnetic. So you could create like an electric grid, power the entire Earth.
This might be my side hustle.
There's actually a project, an American project called Project Flashlight at the time, but it was completely different.
What was it about?
I don't know, man. Just go fuck yourself.
Oh boy. All the early going of this movie is kind of just a very clever, like, what would you do if you're the last person on Earth? So he goes to a radio station where he gives out his home number and address. Rusty, I don't care if it's the apocalypse. I don't know if I'd want to do this.
Well, that's like the Fermi paradox, right?
What's that?
Well, the Fermi paradox. Well, the Fermi paradox is that if there's aliens out there, why haven't we made contact with them yet? And part of that's like because other intelligent life forms might not want to make contact because there could be super predator that would obviously come and destroy your planet or your homeworld. So that could happen to him.
Oh yeah. I mean, I wasn't even thinking like that. I was just thinking like, what if it's the most annoying motherfucker on Earth is the last person left? It's like Urkel shows up and he's like, oh jeez, I'm here. You're like, oh fuck. That's why I should be like, leave me a note at like the city center and I'll pick up the note. Then I'll leave you another note.
They'll just be waiting for you. They'll just be waiting for you. It's not like they're leaving.
We'll build to a meet. We're not going to meet immediately.
You have to vet them to meet them first. I mean, I feel like even if you did find somebody and you like them, there's still got to be a level of paranoia. Like,
oh yeah. Well, you have to have like space. You're like, I will take Lower Manhattan. You can take Midtown. And like
we meet
5 days a week.
Every Tuesdays or Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah. 5 days a week we'll hang out. Like, let's be reasonable, but not every day.
If you were in this scenario, would you go countryside or would you go city?
I don't know. I feel like a city would be probably all these bodies have just vanished. Yeah, so you just have all these buildings to yourself. You could basically create your own little mini town within on a block of the city.
But you have to remember, without maintenance, these buildings will eventually crumble.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be hundreds of years. I don't know. I don't know how well they're made now.
It'd probably be more pleasant to be in the country.
Well, I think eventually if you're in the city, food's going to run thin. So you're gonna have to eventually learn farming.
Imagine if you were living in the city and you're living like on like the 30th floor. Like, what if if the elevator broke and then like you were out of food and you were stuck up? Like, how would you get down from a skyscraper? Like, would you try to like rappel down or like punch a hole through the floor?
You didn't think there would be stairs in the building?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess there was.
They'd find you dead on the street because you like tried to do a makeshift parachute. Like, why did this guy use the stairs? What's wrong with him?
And I always take the stairs too because it's like a more antisocial way to do it.
Like in that moment of panic, you just have such a brain fart. You forget about the stairs. You like try to slide down the window.
Like I'm bashing holes through the apartment floors. Like I'm down. It's like it's been a month. I'm down 2 floors.
We know you don't know how to use them power tools. You're stuck in there.
I cut myself up pretty bad.
The scariest thing to me is that, like, imagine just getting a cavity or something like so minor that could lead to like certain death, like a tooth abscess or something. Like, you're gonna have to learn so much to survive. You're gonna have to learn like basic like medicine, basic dentistry, basic like technology. Like, you have to learn how to build shit. Yeah, we would be useless in this world.
I'm just eating candy laid on the floor.
How horny are you in this world?
I don't know. That's the thing about the like. I feel like it'd be too depressing to look at like images of people. Yeah. So, or maybe it wouldn't be. Maybe your way to deal with things would be like watch movies all the time.
But I mean, there's no temptation. Like, you don't have any. I assume that you're not going to have like your phone or anything, and you're not going to have porn or anything, right? So where's the temptation? You're not having people.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this scenario, you would like you dedicate a day to go find porn if you had to. Like, today is the day I'm going to go find those DVDs.
How quickly are you like ditching conventional life? Like, when are you not wiping your ass anymore?
Well, no, wiping my ass. Well, that is so crass. I would always do that because we all know it feels horrible if you haven't done it for some reason.
It does.
But conventional society, I would like be leaving hour 1. Like when the guy is having, so like basically he starts during this sequence, he's like driving around like in a cop car yelling on the megaphone. He's playing the saxophone in the rain. He shoots up a church. This would all be hour 1 for me.
And you're not even quite sure if everyone actually did disappear.
Oh yeah, I know. Like, I really hope that people don't come back right during this part.
See, I don't know. It's got to take a little bit for your brain to like switch off, because like when he's driving around, like, are you still obeying traffic like laws and signs and stuff? Or are you just like completely just like, fuck that, I'm just driving through on the other side of the road, driving on sidewalks?
Well, the thing is that people would have been on the roads when it vanished. When everyone vanished, so there would be cars everywhere.
So I mean, but I'm just saying, like, would you drive on sidewalk? I mean, just if you're going from point A to point B, would you just not care how you were getting there, or would you drive on the right side?
All I know is I'm going naked. Like, he does run naked on that beach, and it's like a really far away shot. So it's like, look at this guy go.
Yeah, I feel like nude. Like, why not be nude?
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like in the Planet of the Apes, where like they're running around without their clothes on, and all the humans are actually watching them.
What part of the film is that? I don't remember that at all.
When they discover the water and they strip off their clothes to like take a dip, wash off. Yeah, and like all the humans are like spying on them. Yeah, some spacesuits. Some space underwear.
But yeah, so this is right. So he's having like a mental breakdown basically, but then he kind of gets a new life by moving into a mansion.
I wonder how many weeks or days that took him. It had to be weeks, right? Because he was waiting for people to contact him.
He was drinking and waiting around, and then he's like it's time I moved up in the world. And once he moves to the new house, he's so much happier.
Yeah. You know, it was kind of sad though when he's like, he makes that billboard for people to contact him, And he says he wants to know if he's the only person left on Earth. But like, he like steps back and looks at the sign, and then he underlines "please." So he says, like, if you see this, please contact me. So at that point, he is now where you think you're probably equipped where you could handle it. He's becoming desperate, and he needs actually that human contact. I mean, humans are social creatures. So, I mean, I feel like nobody's really equipped to handle that.
That's true. And the things that you would do to kind of substitute for, I think, so when he wakes up in the mansion, there's a shitload of art that's kind of scattered around. The idea is that he went to a museum and like took this art, right?
Yeah, now he's, like, because he gets like the nice clothing and stuff. So he's really just living the lavish lifestyle.
He's drinking champagne right after waking up. He's driving a car in the mall, which I love that.
Yeah, did you see he puts the egg in the champagne flute?
I did see that, but I did not process it until just now.
What were you doing? You were thinking about all that art, but I looked that up to see why he put an egg in the champagne.
Yeah.
Basically, you could put eggs into alcohol, hence eggnog, because the alcohol kind of neutralizes the bacteria or the salmonella that's in the egg. So it kind of almost cooks the egg without cooking the egg. But for him, since he was having a night of drinking, it's like a hangover cure because the egg is kind of loaded with a dense protein. So he feels fuller longer and combats the hangover effects. So it's actually kind of sciencey without having to explain that to you, which I like about this movie because there's a lot of like things that he just does where it's not spelled out for you. Like he's smart and it's not telling, like we're not told that he's smart. He just is. Yeah. Or he's not technological. He just is capable of that. And I feel like if this movie was made nowadays, there would be like these huge like
let's calm down about this guy putting this. It's like probably just like some like hillbilly hangover cure. You think this guy's fucking Einstein now?
I mean, this guy knows his shit pretty much with everything. I mean, I'm trusting this guy. You know, if it's me and him, I'm drinking eggs out of a champagne flute.
Oh yeah, no, he does seem like a competent guy. I mean, partially because he was part of the team that caused the apocalypse.
I feel like in this situation, I would just follow along with this guy. And this guy's the quintessential loser too, and I'm following along with him until Arpy comes along. Then I'm with that guy.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, you're dumping him so quick. He's gonna be like,
he's going to dump the girl in me.
I've noticed a certain coldness, Rusty. Have I lost you?
Please don't talk to me. What's your interest level in going to like a military base, like Area 51 or something, just to really see what's there?
I'd say pretty high. I mean, not to see what's there because I don't think anything's there, and also I don't
think
the
Pentagon or something.
I don't think I'd be able to figure out where it is, but I definitely like want to get a tank and drive it around.
I feel like I would love to like blow something up.
Oh
just to see if I could do it. But it's such a. I mean, after months of that, and it's just like, oh, this is pretty hopeless. Let me see. Let me risk some things, like parachute off like a skyrise building or something. No parachuting experience, but I would take a chance. I mean, there's got to be like you could probably go to a library and find how-to books. I'm just thinking you would like be like the man on a wire. You'd be walking between like two skyscrapers. Who do you think would be the last person on Earth that you would want to spend this hellscape in or with? It could be somebody you don't know, somebody famous.
Probably Steven Seagal. So Rusty, I guess it goes without saying that this movie really is reminiscent of the pandemic also. Specifically the very early pandemic when it was like the real lockdown era.
Mm-hmm.
When I got, weirdly into Animal Crossing for a little bit.
Yeah, you told me that it was a good game and I played it for one day.
Yeah, no, I got into it for kind of a while, but it was like a good podcast playing game.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get too crazy because I had a newborn.
Mhm.
So that kind of kept me
Oh
grounded, which
yeah.
was nice. But the craziest thing I think I've done was became very meticulous about cleaning anything that came into my house.
Mhm.
So like anytime we got food delivered or like groceries or anything, I would like hand scrub like everything with like Lysol and like wipes,
You are such a
just because
coward.
like you were licking anything that came your way. But you know what happened though? Shortly after what I think things went into lockdown around end of March here,
Mhm.
maybe early April. And I think in May, we went to use our central air and it wasn't working. It was just blowing out warm air. So I had to get actually a plumbing company here. And the guy that showed up, he was wearing a mask, but he was a little too big to get into the ducts, which he somehow did. But he was sweating so profusely and getting it on everything. And the access point was in the baby's nursery, and he was getting sweat on like her crib and on the dresser, and I was just taking mental notes of what I had to like sanitize, and I couldn't believe the amount of sweat trail he left.
It'd be so creepy if the story ended with you being like, "Wait a second, I don't remember that guy ever leaving the ducks."
You know, like sometimes, like contractors like that, or like they'll make chit chat with you. But
Mhm.
this guy, I remember, he just complained the entire time about going up there. He's like, it's 90 degrees. You believe this shit? He's like, you believe this shit? I have to go up there, this shit. And he just kept saying that like over and over again. And like I heard him up there, and he like dropped because he crammed up there. It's actually like in a crawl space, not a duct. And he like dropped his tool, and he couldn't like get it, and he was just like cursing. But I like heard him like trying to fumble for the tool, and I'm just like, oh, you're right up there. He's like, this motherfucker. Just can you believe this shit? And
I love the idea of him being in a duct. He's like, "Come to the house, fix the AC."
he would not have appreciated that. He was not happy to be there, and it gets brutally hot up there.
I bet.
But yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised he might be dead by now. Who knows? Where we at in this movie?
The guy, we're not that far in this movie at all. The guy puts on a nightie. He just has kind of lost at this point. He's wandering the city wearing this nightie. He sits down with a gun. He's gonna kill himself, but
You
he
know,
shoots the TV.
I interpreted the nighty as like kind of really just going crazy and just just giving into like your temptations with no judgment.
Mhm.
But the nighty actually, according to a film critic, kind of signified that it wasn't so much like cross dressing; it was more of a means of projection that he was not only the last man on Earth, but he was also the last female on Earth by taking on this persona. By wearing that
interesting.
he had like female that balance with him. So I don't know, internally he was masculine, but with that on, he also had that feminine presence.
I mean, I really just think it's like you're the last guy on Earth.
Mm.
Every day you got to be like, what am I going to do today? You're like, all right, what if I just wore a nightie and ran around?
I mean, I feel like I can't speak for myself in that scenario, but I feel like now I don't think that would be something I'd be that into.
Nah, me either.
It's not. I would do some weird shit, but I wouldn't be doing that.
Oh yeah. Oh, like I said, when he goes and shoots up that church,
Yeah.
and when he goes to like the stadium and anywhere that's like unusual to be empty, I'd go to like every museum just to like be like, oh, it's so weird.
Yeah, like I'm sure you would probably masturbate in the middle of that, like on that field in that stadium, like just cause. It's like, look at me.
I guess I would. But what if that's the moment I realized I was insane and like I snapped back to reality and it was like a NFL playoff game and all the fans are like, we're gonna get him off the field. I'm like,
Just
fuck
children
me.
watching.
I'm on the Jumbotron, but there's like 3 pixels blocking out my penis. I'm like, they should have used more pixels.
Oh.
But basically, this is a prolonged meltdown period for this guy. But he starts to like pull his life together again. He
does
some like veggies. He gets he makes like a remote control lawnmower, which is like such a small thing that is a huge setup for later in the movie.
Yeah. You I feel like I'm just not capable of doing that. Of building like anything like a robot assisted.
Oh no, me either.
Like I feel like we're just getting one of those Magic Mike robots to try to help out. It's just breathing that weird toxic smoke on our plants. Like,
Well,
why?
it's funny because right after that, then he has like a computer, and he can talk to this computer. Movies really wanted us to talk to computers way too early. Even as a little kid, I knew that. I was like, "Come on, a computer can't do this."
Like war games and stuff. Like,
yeah, it was. They'd always be like, "And how are you today?"
Yeah, I mean, looking back at when did war games come out? 85.
War games? I think war games is 83 or.
Oh, is it? But like Matthew Broderick, obviously computer hacker, like kind of smart, underachiever. But I feel like we're living in 2022, and I can't process anything that he was doing back then with computers. And computers are so much more complex now. You know, with the shooting up the church you mentioned, I was shocked that they actually were able to be allowed to do that. I wonder how they notified.
It's amazing because it's like he's just going nuts, and he's like, what does he say? Something like the kid's gonna get it. Like he's just fucking around, and it's portrayed so not a big deal. Like it's just like an empty building this guy wrecks. But you could imagine like this becoming a really controversial movie here for that.
Yeah, the line he says, he's like, "Where is the one they call God?" And then he's like, something about shooting the kid, right?
Oh yeah, because I forgot to mention that he begins to believe that he is God during this because he also
and the president of the Quiet Earth.
Yeah, I forgot that one of the best scenes is he sets up all those cardboard cutouts. This is something I would love to do, and gives them a speech, like a presidential speech.
Yeah, interesting cutouts he has too. He has like Hitler. He has Alfred Hitchcock. Who else did he have? I don't remember. Churchill, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say Churchill, but then I was like, but Hitchcock fills that same kind of look, you know?
Yeah.
You really need two of those guys?
You know, but the interesting thing though, because was shot in Auckland, which is like a deeply rooted Catholic area of New Zealand. So, I mean, the fact that they're making this commentary on Catholicism, kind of crazy. But some people say that this movie is like overly religious.
Really? In what way?
Yeah. That after the first event that he did die, and it's like he's in the first stage of purgatory. For his sin is the sin of like suicide, and then the next one is because he's what did he do? I think because he attempted suicide again. He's now in a second ring of purgatory.
Yeah, but so he's just I mean, that's jumping way ahead, but that suicide that he did was a suicide for justice.
Suicide, man.
Well, maybe in some strict interpretation, but he was saving those other two people.
Yeah, I don't know. The article I read about it and some of the comments, it was just like too much of a stretch for me.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that either. I have my interpretation, which I know to be correct.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a huge moment after he's talking to this computer because this is where he meets a girl. She's got a gun pointed at him. They have a tense moment, but then they hug. She says, "It's not even real." What a relief. They're so happy to see another person. And he was so happy that he did not get a boner when they were hugging here. That would have been doomed from the beginning.
There's so much trust. Like, I feel like that interaction would have to be longer. There would have to be like a standoff for a little bit. But maybe after a few weeks and just seeing anything, your guard goes right down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I mean, I think that's a pretty real feeling.
I mean, for him, though, because she's an attractive woman. So for him, it's kind of like, fuck, this is great.
Oh, I know. His very next move is to have a romantic dinner with her.
Yeah. For her, she's probably like, eh.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is an interesting question in the film, if they actually bang or not.
They do.
Yeah, that's what
do you think that's a question? Or are you?
I thought it was.
You can't repeat
I thought it was slightly ambiguous, but I thought they did.
But yeah. Hey, I mean, they don't show you their cards in this movie. It's a lot of interpretation.
But
Imagine,
he's basically
imagine you're all horned up in this world, and you finally meet somebody. It's like a 90-year-old woman.
I was gonna say, or it's just this situation because it's kind of like, I guess they do sleep together once, but this guy is kind of friend zoned from the beginning, so it's kind of like a funny relationship. Like, there's a new dimension to the movie where you could tell he's kind of like, damn, I can't believe that we're not gonna just go for this.
I mean, during the Siskel and Ebert review, their complaint was that it was very slow moving. I didn't think the movie was slow moving at all.
It's not, and it's actually pretty short, isn't it? Like 90 minutes.
It's 90 minutes, and I feel like each scene is like packed with enough information that like you're entertained, but you're also like, oh, I like this. Let's sit here for a minute, and then it's like, nope, next scene.
Yeah, and it kind of
like
changes a lot.
Yeah, when he goes to that modern house, you're like, holy, oh, this is cool. And then it's like, nope, they're in a motel somewhere, and then they're in another scene. And
I think it feels slow intentionally, just in that like there's a lot of like really long shots because it's like stressing the loneliness. But
that scene where he's on the beach running naked, and it pans out and you see like the mountains. How much of that looked like Lord of the Rings to you?
That did look like Lord of the Rings. Also remind me of Planet of the Apes, that beach.
Oh, really? You're expecting to see like
I thought I was going to see Dr. Zayas just being like, what the devil are you doing? Put on clothes. Foul creature. So the guy explains some of the scientific stuff going on here because they start talking about
her the first.
He tells her, I get the feeling we're either dead or in a different universe.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells him about a baby that she saw that had maggots, which it meant that like the baby had survived the event but then died after.
We didn't
so we get some of the lore here.
That one.
What do you mean? Why not?
Well, I mean, how did the baby survive the initial moment? How old was this baby? Was it newborn? Was it a toddler?
Or maybe it was like a baby that was like, because it had to have been dying at the moment. So it was like a baby that had like died in childbirth, but then, it survived because of the event.
So do you think the event causes like a rebirth, like in some way? Because I mean, obviously like Arby was being drowned and the other guy took sleeping pills or like whatever pills to OD. She was electrocuted. So like you come out pretty much unscathed, right? If you die at that moment.
Yeah. Imagine like you were that guy from RoboCop who gets all that toxic waste on him. And then it's like you had surviving, but you're like, oh, I guess I'm just the Toxic Avenger now. That's my life. I'm the Toxic Avenger.
What?
I look pretty fucked up.
You come
Someone like
when
you first bump into her, you're like, I know it's not what you're expecting.
Imagine that. Imagine another human, especially like a female, comes along and it's like, oh God.
Now I can't really see out of this eye that well, but you look disappointed. I saw a face, which I get. So they decide to search for more people, Rusty. They break into two. She wants to check prisons. He goes to like the
hospitals.
Yeah, and he goes to research the pulsating sun that he has witnessed with this light meter.
Yeah.
Then when they meet up again, he explains to her basically the whole kind of backstory that creating this energy grid that we talked about, and she starts crying about how the whole world is left, and he was like, "This might be my chance."
Wow. She was a little bit upset about how the male club ruined everything.
Yeah. And why did they do it? They just ruined the whole world.
And they knew there was a chance that would happen too. And they went ahead with it. It's kind of like what's going to probably eventually happen to us. Something's going to trigger a catastrophic event. When you finally meet a woman who's attractive, like, do you question that? Do you think that some of that could be something, a malfunction in your brain, or that you're like hallucinating it?
I would just go with it either way.
If it feels real, stick with it.
It'll be like the end of Total Recall when she's like, "You better kiss me before you wake up," and then he's like, "Okay, I'm doing it."
I don't remember that.
I'm currently kissing you, Arnold. I'm currently kissing you is not a great ending line of the film. It stays. I don't know.
This moment in their life has to be so much fun. Like that new love feeling.
Oh yeah.
New
Oh
romance.
my
And
Lord.
the fact to add on top of it, you're the only two known people in the world. Woo.
Yeah, that's a great time to just like they're doing racing cars around the city. You could have some really epic dates together.
Oh yeah.
Oh, if I was this guy, I'd be like, gotta get let's get that human race going again. Let's lock her down with a baby.
You're just as bad as this guy.
But things are not. There is a whole negative thing happening here because he's realizing that the electrons are expanding and the fabric of the universe has not only altered, but it's highly unstable.
I thought that part was interesting. The scientific explanation.
It's like he finally got the girl, and the universe is about to explode.
It's funny that they set up shop though in a motel, like out of all places, and it's such a grimy motel. I really felt like when they pulled into that motel, even though they were like isolated and alone, I felt like they could be murdered there. It's just like, why would you go to a place where it's possible somebody's living in the walls and they're gonna come out when you're sleeping?
Oh, I know. It would just be the tour of like the craziest mansions on Earth.
I'm just thinking of why they're in the motel. You're one of the survivors. You come stumbling out with a potato sack over your head, like Jason with one eye.
That is probably what I would do.
Good to see you.
Just how I was the spider back on the playground, the natural playground in elementary school. I'll be the Jason of this world.
Imagine you coming across two other people like them and trying to present yourself as normal after being isolated for like several weeks. I'm normal, trust me.
Yeah, like I'm no guys. Like I know I'm bombing right now, but I'm cool. Okay, I'm cool. I know of this arcade. There's still power. We could go there. They got some good games. I mean, most of them are bad, but they got like one good game and that basketball hoop thing, which I'm still bad
like
at.
A madman.
They're like, hey man, we're cool. We're kind of like dating now, so we want to do our own thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is great.
Imagine that stumbling on like somebody that could be potentially a couple.
Oh yeah, and also I feel like I would tell lies to the group to try to like to make myself seem more important. Be like, yeah, if we find any fighter jets, I am a former F-16 pilot.
Oh, that's a good lie though, because that will never come up. The likeliness of that.
They're like, should we look for that fighter jet today? I'm like, we'll never find it. Don't even bother. Don't look for it. Like, can you fly other kinds of planes? No, only I learned on this one as a child.
Wait, but there's a military base right over here. It's like a mile away. How about we just go over there?
No, it's gonna rain. These things don't fly in the rain.
You have to constantly come up. That's a sitcom. Just constantly coming up with excuses. It's like Gilligan's Island, but end of the world. Need a fighter jet.
Yeah, like we have this guy. He used to be like a special forces guy. He's kind of weird, but we let him hang around. And they're like, that guy used to be a special forces guy. The guy's on his way home. He just had a very flirty. What's that word? Walkie-talkie call with the lady. But he keeps finding the roads blocked. He's like, I don't remember this detour. This is never good. Yeah. He's led right into a trap. He ends up kind of like going down this alley, and a truck rolls out to block him. And this is Arpy, who comes out with an Uzi. This other guy can't believe it.
Shotgun, though. Yeah,
I know. A fucking shotgun, though. I'd have that Uzi hour 4. So there's kind of she calls him from, what happens? She calls him from next door, but she's dressed as like a hotel maid, right? She shows up with breakfast in bed and nothing on her butt.
We see her butt. I think this is a funny moment because he like has the coffee, but he like winds up burning himself.
Oh yeah, that's very clumsy.
But was that implied though? Like, was this that they were going to have sex again and he missed the moment, or
I don't know because the way she reacted made it seem like she knew he was going to burn himself, and she found that funny. Like it wasn't like a surprise for her.
See, look at this. I'm having trouble reading this situation just like he was. Winds up burning himself. Actually, came across on Reddit. This might be interesting to you. The other day, there was a Reddit thread about missed moments, and could be from high school, where the missed moment with someone that still plays out in your head like regularly. And like some people's stories are just like how like there was that moment where like the flirty moment, could have fooled around, but like hesitated, nothing happened, and they just think about that all the time, daily. I'm sure we all have our moments, but I thought that triggered something for me. I thought of this moment, which, the girl, it's one of everybody's dream girl from our school, AM. I'll just say. We mentioned her before. You were told about killing cats to her.
Okay. No need to bring that up again, but that's fine.
But one of those moments for me was, this is when I like put in a whole summer of courting. And there was that big moment, that big payoff where we were sitting on her stoop and she was telling me, because she was upset that she was at a party the night before and some guy made a move on her. And so I was just like, oh, what happened? I'm thinking for my selfish reasons, like, oh, did you hook up kind of thing? But she's just like, no, I pushed him away. And she's like, I don't even like him. And then she's like, I like you. And she looked at me and gave me that look. You know the look.
Oh, I know the look. I know the look, dude. The crossed eyes, the tongue out.
Oh, that's the look. Oh, baby. And my head was just my brain was saying, yeah, kiss her. Kiss her. Like why are you not kissing her? Like in Just Friends when he's like laying in bed with her and he's just like, why are you not making a move? You're just sitting there.
Yeah. Or in Little Mermaid when Sebastian's like, kiss the girl.
That's the voice I heard. And of course, like after that summer, that was like, could have been that summer of love. Like Greece, and then school started and we drifted apart. And then I became punk and weird, as you recall. But the thing I remember as well is that before graduation, we crossed paths again. We haven't talked like throughout high school, barely at least. And she said to me, she's like, you never say hi to me. You never talk to me anymore. And she said, I used to have such a crush on you. She said, but what happened to you? And I had no answer.
I got a better offer from the punk scene and this weird guy, Ed. So I'm playing GoldenEye with him.
The puzzled look on her face. She's just like, wait, punk, the guy, Ed, what?
But Rusty, I mean, I would not stick with this shotgun this whole time. I feel like a trip to the gun store could have been a good use of an afternoon in this last person on Earth situation.
Oh yeah, I would stock. I'd be like a crazy gun nut. I would have so many weapons.
I'd look waiting. I'd be so weighted down with guns. I just tumble down to the ground like the other gang finds me. They're like, he can't even move. And I was like, I've got so many rifles strapped to me.
I'd be wearing like that bomb disposal outfit, like in the Hurt Locker. That Guy Pearce. But like with G.I. Joe figures, like in the later years when they like weren't selling well, so they would have like 1 million accessories.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'd just be overloaded with. So that would be me. I would just have way too much shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even know how to use it. I feel like you would be something. You'd like come out like as a samurai.
Probably.
The guy with the Uzi would be like, "What the heck?" You just have a big katana blade. I would probably put an effort to find like that minigun that Jesse Ventura has in Predator. Even though I would not even be able to hold that and fire around. It'd probably like my arms would break holding that.
But so when he meets the guy, it's tense at first, and but then they're like, you're a bro. They kind of just have an unspoken moment.
Your heart would just drop seeing another guy.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a great. I love this. I don't know if it's subtext. It's not real. It's pretty subtle, but like the way that she evolves towards Arpy, but it's like so clear that like she's immediately like, oh, this is the cool guy.
The shot when all three of them finally meet, and it's that overhead, like the overhead shot, and it's like them all standing equally apart, like in a triangle.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's obviously the love triangle that's going to emerge shortly.
That is that plaza where that was shot is very famous for this.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Interesting. I hate to say this, but the main guy, I mean, he's always kind of a cuck, so you just know
Oh yeah,
he's immediately going to get thrown into that role.
Oh yeah, and I love like right after that. So like they're tense for a moment, then they all smile and have like a big 3-way hug. It was very nice to see. And then they're like driving. The very next beat is like they're driving, and she's drinking like between them, and he's like, "Oh, watch out! Put your beer down!" And like because like they're passing a cop, and he's like, "I don't want the cop to see." And Zach and what's the girl's name?
I know the actress's name. Joanne, I think, is the character's name.
Anyway, Zach and Joanne like both laugh at this, and Arpy's like, "This is the kind of shit they find funny." Like the face he's making, he's like, "These guys are lame."
I read it as that it was just lost on him, like. Wow. But yeah, I thought he played that scene well though. It's funny, little humorous moments here and there.
Yeah. Then they're camping alongside this creek. They notice there's fish still here, and they had some reasoning for that.
Please tell.
Well, the fish, like the eggs, they hadn't hatched yet, or some shit. I don't know.
Well, the female fish lays the eggs along the bank or wherever, and the male comes along and shoots sperm and fertilizes it. So like, I don't think there was any life at the moment where things happened, and then like fertilized the eggs afterwards. So they were still able to develop.
Basically, this mumbo jumbo is a way to get in. To get in, like RP being like, I was dead. My mate drowned me, and they realized that they all were at the moment of death, and that's why they survived. And I like RP had a line where he was like, "I thought I was a ghost. It was really sad." But the way he says, like, "It was really sad," made me sad.
It did make me sad. Oh, but that won her over though. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, what do you do in this situation? Do you give up on? Oh,
of course. I give up.
Well, I can't compete with this guy.
No. I just become the greatest guy of all time.
Oh, so you're not like
maybe my chance emerges at some later date.
What kind of angry note are you writing to her?
I'm not doing anything like that. I'm just biding my time because RP might fall off a cliff.
Do you plot to kill RP? Is that
all I know is some things could happen. No, I think if I thought I was the last person on Earth and then I discovered that there's 2 other people who I liked, I wouldn't really give a fuck about who is dating who. I'd just be like, I'm happy to be here, everybody.
Yeah.
But then if you felt that way, then you started to feel excluded. That would be incredibly tragic.
Well, there's a moment, and it's just really painful, where like Joanne and RP are talking, and he like says the thing about that he like killed his friend's wife, but he doesn't elaborate at this point.
Oh my god, reason. This was the only annoying. This was the only kind of annoying moment to me because it was very movie-esque, where it's like, okay, you've caused a huge misunderstanding. If only you had like completed your sentence, everything would be okay.
Yeah,
it's like that's like if I was staying with you. And I came in and Jen, and I was like, I hit your daughter. And she's like, what? And I'm like, I hit your daughter. And she's like, get out. And then like, I'm just like, and she's like, don't say another word. Get out of here. And then you come and find me and you're like, what happened? And I'm like, I hit your daughter's toy with my foot when I was walking, but I couldn't finish my sentence. You're like, why would you even mention that you hit a daughter's toy with your foot? But it's like, I hate when I'm just like, just explain what happened. Come on.
But my point was in that moment that Joanne's upset by this. So she comes in to the room and she's crying. And like Zach tries to comfort her, but like he's thinking like, oh, I got her back. But she like kind of wants to be alone from him as well.
Oh, yeah.
So he's just like realizes he's fucked in that situation. Is that when they're sleeping? I think that's when they're sleeping. and he like thinks she's going to join him in bed, but she goes in her own bed.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a few other things that happen because there's also the scene where they're dancing, and he's dancing with her, and Arpy is playing the music. So he's obvious. Arpy's already way more impressive here. He goes to kiss her, and she kind of gives him the cheek, and then she says, "I'm thinking about the three of us now, not just me." And it's just like, oh, this guy. And they're like, sing Old Lang Syne. I'm like, do not sing that song in this scenario. That would push me over the edge.
I think it's fitting though, right?
Oh yeah, of course. But it's like almost too sad.
Yeah.
That song used to depress me on New Year's when I was like 12 years old, and I had no reason to feel nostalgic. The whole world's been exterminated.
You know what's really weird though? I felt that way too about that song. And then do you remember the famous scene in Forrest Gump where Lieutenant Dan's by himself or like reflecting in the bar when that song's playing?
No.
I don't know how well you remember Forrest Gump. And it's like basically that's like how you feel. Like that's what I felt without really knowing why. It's like, oh, so everybody feels that way about Old Lang Syne. You know what Old Lang Syne means?
No.
It stands for, well, I guess it has different things, but days gone by, times long past kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how they get you.
What else? I was going to say something about that. Not Old Lang Syne. You know what's interesting, though, is that Siskel and Ebert, or Ebert, I should say, hated that there was like a love triangle.
Really?
He did not like the fact that he's just like that it was female, two males. It's just like that's like so basic that it's always that way. Like it's not interesting that they would choose it that way. And in the book, it's actually the character is named John Hobson. He finds Arpy and they become like friends, and they wind up hitting in a car. They hit a woman, so there's not really a connection with the female.
Did they kill her or?
She eventually dies, which makes Arpy like go crazy in the book, and then John winds up killing Arpy because I don't know. There's like a mistrust or something.
Oh wait, so I forgot. Like they go to bed. Zach's hoping she's gonna come to bed with him. She doesn't. Then she hears like Arpy at night singing like.
Yeah, that's the scene where he's singing like to his mom's gravestone.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, Zach, you're done, son.
You're done. Oh, you know when she came back in and he thought like, oh, good, I got her.
Oh yeah.
You know what I might do? I'm not sure yet, but if in this world, I might dig up some graves.
Oh, nice. That's my thing. I always want to not rob a grave, but just see what's in there.
Well, I want to see if the bodies are still there. Did the deceased bodies go anywhere? Or are they still decaying?
Oh, you're saying in this world you want to? I thought when you said in this world, I thought you meant in real life. I think you were like, let me get serious for a second.
Is this weird? No, but in this world of the movie, I don't know. Maybe I might go a little crazy. I'm digging up bodies. Maybe bringing them back to my mansion. I'm going to have a party. It's going to look like the dinner scene from a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Just
oh my God. It's like Home Alone, the ghastly version of Home Alone. That would be cool though. You could set up like a really intense haunted house. Like when you meet someone, you're like, it's been like a year and you're like, oh dude, I set up like a haunted house, like in like a mansion far outside of town. It's the creepiest thing you're ever going to see. There's real dead bodies in it. You're going to love
it. I'm just thinking that if like I'm in this world and Joanne came to the house and found me, but I'm hanging out with a bunch of corpses.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Such a bad start.
Okay. So back on track, Rusty. So the next morning is when the mix up with the wife happens because the RP and Joanne they're going for a jog, and this jog is very awkward. There's too in depth of a conversation to have while jogging. But
their pacing is weird too for their jog.
Yeah, it is. It is extremely strange.
And plus, he's jogging in leather pants. You know how his asshole must smell so bad after that.
And she's like, "Why did your mate try to kill you?" And he's like, "Because I killed his wife." And she's like, "Why would you do that?" And he's like, it was necessary. And this creates a huge misunderstanding, as we said. And she's like, he thinks he's God. Anyway, like this is like the three of them kind of have like a falling out here because she comes back to the house and she's like, I don't want anything to do with any of you people. And RP comes in, he starts arguing with Zach. They end up basically like in a 3-way car chase.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you like when RP pulls up next to her and he says, you coming? And she says, I wouldn't ride with you for the last man on earth. And he goes, I'm working on it. Because he's he's chasing Zach to get him here.
That's a great line.
Yeah.
A little too clever for that kind
It is a little too. It is. It feels a lot like a movie in that part.
Yeah, I mean the last act feels more like a movie with some things, but the first act is amazing.
Yeah, I mean I like the whole movie, and so but they have the 3-way car chase, and during the chase, RP listens to the tape that Zach made, detailing how the effect is going to happen again, and things are still going wrong. Mm-hmm. And once they all catch up to each other, they realize that this is something they're going to have to deal with. So they go back to the fancy house to research things, and trippy shit just goes wild here in this part. Yeah. The effect starts happening. The room starts spinning. It's like that famous spinning room from Nightmare on Elm Street that was used in every film.
I feel like I was watching this at a weird angle because I felt kind of loopy myself watching it. It's just like, wow,
it's like, yeah, it's very like 80s music video, the way it starts going crazy, but it's effective.
Remember when we were at Spooky World?
Oh yeah, of course.
And there was that device thing, that like spinning tunnel thing that you walk through, but you're not actually spinning. You're just like walking through it, but it's spinning around you. That tunnel fucked up my equilibrium for like a half hour.
I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about getting one in my apartment.
Maybe that's the tunnel you have from your place in Santa Monica.
Oh yeah.
You'd be dead in there.
I would
dead.
just.
Why would this guy do that?
I would get off the tunnel, just stagger so dizzy into the ocean and drown.
Maybe you would emerge like he did, just naked, like that Rebirth.
Oh, yeah.
He went in with his clothes on. People are just watching you. You're not actually alone.
Oh God.
All right. So where are we? What's next?
So then they decide like they've got to blow up the.
I'm laughing because I looked at your notes and I just heard that you actually wrote the Nightmare on Elm Street line.
I'm fascinated by that room because it was like one entrepreneurial guy was like, I'm going to build a spinning room. And then all these 80s horror movies would be like, we got to get that, can we, it's like, oh dude, like, sorry, it's booked. It's booked that day.
Well, that room was also used I know it was used in Breaking 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it was used in something else, right?
Oh yeah. It was used in 2 movies that we did. Like any horror movie where people start like running around, like this, I think Exorcist 3 also used that room. Maybe not Exorcist 3. But anyway, a lot of things did. Okay, just take my word.
I know that other movie with what's it called? Where he's the Black Ninja?
Last Dragon.
Last Dragon, yeah. That room's in there too, right? When he like dances on the ceiling.
I don't know because that movie really feels like it's a New York film, but and I know the room is in L.A. Look,
did Lionel
I don't know much about this
dancing on the ceiling?
Oh, I bet he did.
Love to hear that.
That was my life.
Yeah. Do you remember the gym shows in elementary school?
Oh my God. I came to hate the songs that we would, because like you'd practice for it constantly to the same song.
Well, they would have your class, every class would like practice it for the class that was performing.
Yeah.
But can you explain this to the people what a gym show is?
I mean, it's just like a display of
a gym show.
A piss poor display of calisthenics by a bunch of children that adults are forced to watch.
Well, it's parents, not adults. It's not like they're selling tickets for these things. But the thing is that at the time you thought, like kids, you thought you're doing a great job, but kids are barely coordinated at that age.
Oh yeah. And it was, let me see if I remember this right. Wasn't it like, okay, first there's like the gym show, which is kind of like the dance to the song. Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
then there's like various games you play while the parents look on. Wasn't there like an obstacle course and there was like a volleyball with like a giant big beach ball?
I don't know. I remember there was an obstacle course, which everybody I think did, and then there was like it's like specialized events. Mine was basketball. I don't remember what the other stuff was. I think there was
Mine
like a
was,
soccer. Maybe there was. What was yours?
I was in the let's have this kid sit over here. And here's the thing, we think he might be a killer, but he's also really uncoordinated. So we don't think he's going to be that dangerous. But still, he has no place in the gym show.
Cut that kid. That kid's disgusting. But yeah, so the song for like the calisthenics portion or the dance, it was like exercise dance, right? Mine was She Drives Me Crazy. I think yours was it Dancing on a Ceiling?
Yeah, and then I believe we also did the I'm not sure why, but that Bad Boys song.
Inner Circle. I remember one class, I think the class probably three ahead of me was Shakedown, Breakdown.
We did that. Yeah, I even remember some of the moves now. Oh my god,
were they sexy as hell?
No, not at all.
Your socks were pulled all the way up, I bet.
Well, that's for sure.
Would it have been weird if we showered in elementary school? They had the showers.
Yeah, but we didn't shower in any year.
No, we missed that. That's why I always thought it was so weird in like 80s movies. But in reality, that's like much more normal than not showering.
Oh yeah, not showering, so like chaste.
Especially when you had gym second period. It's just like, oh, now I get to go the rest of my day smelling like sweat. Do you remember though in elementary school that we did like the scoliosis test?
Oh yeah.
And you had to strip down into your underwear. You have to bend over.
Yeah.
Was that just me? That
was the most action I got until I was 19.
Did you ever test positive? Is it testing positive for scoliosis? Is that what it's called?
Dude, I remember the nurse like did the thing, like tested me, and then she was like, report to the bell tower immediately. No, I never did. And I somehow never had lice.
Oh well, that's a good thing.
I mean, believe it.
You would your reputation would have been ruined through high school.
I could not have taken that blow.
You already had the blow up. You couldn't sit cross-legged.
Oh yeah, no, it was already like it's like a stock that's already failing. It's like, okay, don't tell them about the 3,000 layoffs. We have enough problems.
Man, the stuff you I mean, I know bullying's horrible, but it's, they did so many things in like elementary school that like set you up. It was like rife for bullying.
Oh my god, yeah, of course.
Lice tests in front of everyone. Like it was always in front of other kids. So like you get your the lice test or the scoliosis. It's like it's really ostracized kids.
Yeah. So they get bomb stuff. Their plan is they're going to drive to the satellite dish and blow it up. And Zach says, I suppose if this works, we'll all live happily ever after. And they find out that RP killing his wife wasn't what he totally made it seem like it was.
It's the worst way to tell a story.
She had a crush on him, and she professed her love, and he was like, "You're my mate's girl, no way," and she killed herself. So, I mean, come on, RP, don't say you killed her.
No, I mean, technically,
no, not even close.
I know.
So, Joanna's like, the things I've learned about people in the last few weeks.
Wait, can I just touch on one thing that I just thought of about RP and his friend? Now, the friend was killing him, drowning him. So was it because his wife committed suicide because she was in love with his friend, or was it because maybe RP did have feelings for the wife, but like couldn't move forward with them? Or was it just like overreacting?
No, I think the guy was killing him because the wife killed herself over him.
But why would you
blame him?
So it's just kind of So it was an overreaction without like understanding all the circumstances. Maybe
Yeah.
RP explained it poorly to his friend as well, and his friend was just
He
like, "Nah, I'm
probably
gonna kill
did.
you."
The friend really got it. That's like the world's greatest time to commit a murder. It's like you're gonna disappear anyway. The whole world's gonna disappear. You might as well go out strangling.
Well, you don't know what was going to happen. The question we didn't even talk about. I mean, we're not talking about the ending yet, but what do you think happened to all the people that disappeared? Do you think you think time kind of slid a little bit into another dimension? Do you think the people just disappeared? And
it's funny because I always thought that they just like vaporized and ceased to exist. But based on what happens at the end of the movie, I feel like maybe they just move to a different dimension. Maybe everyone's alone and feels alone.
My thought was that there's like a skip in whatever universe that was, and the people like got slipped into another dimension.
Yeah,
which,
or they're just living like a second in front of them or something. Or
so maybe
seconds.
the people imagine the it's possible. The inhabitants of like another dimension that all of a sudden have like duplicate humans. There's two of me.
Wait, so when on the commentary, did Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about any of the science here? Like, could this happen tomorrow?
I'm going to be honest with you. Neil deGrasse Tyson was kind of a letdown. He didn't really say much of anything.
Oh, okay.
He did love the movie. He says it's one of his favorite movies. But he doesn't really, even the ending, I thought he was going to answer some questions or at least hypothesize some interesting things, but he didn't really offer anything at all.
He was just like, I've been to New Zealand a few times. So this is actually a weird moment. So a great planning and payoff here because the stalled truck from way earlier is still blocking this road. They've got to get out of the road. RP rams it with his truck.
I love that Joanne and Zach are kind of flirting a little bit as they're, going off to do this task. But like then he remembers that truck up, which you mentioned, and he's just like, oh shit, it kind of.
Oh yeah. And he immediately, it's like he loses all credibility. She's like, this guy shouldn't have remembered that detail. And then RP comes in. RP comes in hard because then she gets in the car with him and they have a road rage incident with Zach for like no reason where they're trying to like run him off the road. Like if something gets tense and you're just like, what's going on here? I didn't
get this scene. I know this is for a movie effect, but like Zach's like trying to tell him something on the walkie-talkie and he like turns it off. It's just like, wait, you're not even going to listen to this guy now?
It's very uncharacteristic of, is it Joanna or Joanne?
Joanne.
Joanne, because she's just like grinning. She's like, this is great. Like suddenly they're just fucking with him. It's like, oh my God, I am the one of three people left on Earth and I'm getting bullied by the other two.
I would definitely get some heavy artillery.
Oh yeah. I'd be like, because they get there and it's all forgiven pretty quick.
Yeah. The thing in the book though that's crazy is that when it all comes to a head that RP and John Hobson, they have like an all-out battle with like grenades and guns. Imagine seeing that on film. Imagine them throwing grenades at one
another. That probably it's like part of me is like that'd be epic, but then I'm also like, you know, times like where we've played video games where it's like the map is way too big for the amount of characters you have. You're just like, oh damn it! It's like that one really big Halo level. You're like running across the snow.
Oh god,
where the fuck is this guy?
That was like Battlefield.
Where you get killed you're like.
You have to run like 3 miles.
Yeah. Like this is great. A great 10 minutes running to the front.
Yeah, you get there and you get killed immediately. Then it's like, oh, gotta wait, do that all over again.
So they go to take a look at the satellite dish, but they can't get too close because the ionization levels are off the chart.
Yes, they are.
I've used that excuse to get out of, so I'm like, I would go, but the ionization levels are off the chart. This is a great moment because he's like, I have an RC device, like that little lawnmower he made comes back into play here. And a great moment where she's like, oh, you want me to come back with you? But the way she says it, just like she doesn't want to go back with him.
No,
and
she wants
he knows that
get it on.
He knows that her and RP are banging tonight. And he's just like, man, all right.
Is that the first time they banged or is that just the first time that
no, for sure. For sure it is.
So yeah, that was some hot 20-minute action.
Oh yeah, it's because it's exactly 20 minutes, and then they hear the truck driving, and it turns out that he was never gonna go back and get the RC car because there was no time. So he's going to risk his life. I mean, he's not even risking it; he is giving it up to drive this truck into the satellite dish and suicide bomb it like a real hero.
But remember, RP was like kind of like saying, "Oh, I'm the truck driver. That's my mission." And she's just like, "Wait, what's this?"
Zach was like, I know that if I stick around, I'm just gonna have to watch these people fuck until I get old. Or I could be a third wheel, or I could be like a legend to like this future society.
Yeah. And
And so he smashes the thing into the satellite dish, and then we have the very mysterious ending. He wakes up on a beach alone. There's strange cloud formations in the distance. There's Saturn's rings.
rising. That's the sunrise instead of the sunrise, which we're expecting to see. It's Saturn, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie's famous for this last 2 minutes for this last shot.
Because it is very mysterious. It's like, did the sun, like, what happened? Like, they got blown across the galaxy? I mean, not the galaxy, the solar system. They're like, we moved.
I like that it's ambiguous, but I also hate that it's so ambiguous that nobody, not even the director, knows the answer.
Yeah. I thought he was on an alien planet now.
And it just happens to look like Saturn. Because, I mean, there's other planets that have rings.
Yeah. No, but I think it's like the sun, like things got displaced in space. But I was like, what if it's like, this is just, he's stuck in this cycle where this is going to keep happening, but he's going to always meet two different people. And he's like, oh my God, this time it's like Louis Anderson and like.
Somebody speculated that on the first glitch where it was devoid of fauna, and now on this one it's devoid of flora and fauna. So he's completely fucked.
I mean, come on. It's one shot though, facing like the beach. We don't know what it's devoid of.
I know. I do love though, because he's like looking at Saturn, he's in disbelief, and he has his tape recorder with him, which he takes notes, and he like brings it up to his ear to like say something, and he's just like puts it back down, like fuck this, like I don't know where to begin.
Yeah,
I would be like, I mean, of course, it's you'd be in awe of what you're looking at, but when the reality sets in of like, what you do now?
Oh yeah, it's just like if aliens came down and started attacking. It's like you would only be like, oh my God, aliens for like a minute. Then after that, you just be like, I fucking hate these guys.
Imagine just like Jar Jar Binks, like a Star Wars crossover.
But they're like Jar Jar, but they're fucking lethal and they just murder you. You're like, this is the final indignity.
Like predators.
Whoa.
The way they talk like that, but they're lethal.
Oh yeah.
Misa, rip your head off.
Execute all of them. You mean people gonna die? I like it.
I can't even do that voice anymore.
You and big doo-doo now.
Oh boy. All right. That about wraps it up, I would say. Rusty, what do you have any more final thoughts?
I mean, I love this movie. I mean, even if I don't really fully understand the ending, but yeah, I think like the universe just got completely all fucked up, all blown apart, kind of.
Yeah.
But what do you think happened to Arpy and Joanne? You think they're still in the other planet somewhere, or you think they're somewhere else, or you think they're with all the other people that disappeared?
We made our own Star Wars. You know, we make our own sequels. They're not as good, but we're the only people here. They have some sexy scenes.
Is that what they're doing?
I'm not saying it's canon.
Yeah, what are they doing? Do you think they're repopulating?
Oh yeah, for sure. That could be a nice life, you know.
Have stopped. We lost that nerd. We don't have to hear that guy anymore. His cries.
Now it's just Arpy and Eve.
Arpy and Eve. Beautiful.